Okay, everyone, let's get started. So for the last few weeks, we've really been deep in the weeds, right? We've been looking at tax credits, deductions, taxable income, all the nuts and bolts of how we figure out what Canadians owe the government. But today, we're going to flip that completely on its head. We're going to look at how that very same system, the one you're learning to master, is used to figure out what Canadians receive.
I've put this presentation together to really walk you through what I think is a crucial and honestly an often overlooked side of our tax world. And I want this quote to really sink in. Because your careers, they're not just going to be about making sure the numbers add up for the CRA. No, you're going to be advisors. You'll be the ones helping families find and access support they might not even know they're entitled to. You're going to be the navigators in this complex system. So, here's our game plan for today. We'll start by looking at support for families, which is a big one. Then we'll shift into benefits for really critical, tough situations. After that, we'll broaden out to other kinds of income support. And then, this is the key, we're going to tie it all back together to show you how that humble T1 tax return unlocks this entire world. This is really the big question for today, isn't it? You probably think of things like employment insurance or the Canada Child Benefit as totally separate things from filing taxes. But as you're about to see, they are deeply, fundamentally connected to that T1 tax return you'll be spending your careers preparing. All right, let's dive right in. We're starting with probably the most well-known category, the benefits designed to help Canadian families with, the real costs and challenges of raising kids.
We're going to focus on three big pillars here. We've got the Canada Child Benefit, or CCB, the Extra Child Disability Benefit, and of course, the EI benefits for new parents.
Now, the Canada Child Benefit, we all know what it is. But what's not written on this slide is the most important part for you as future tax pros. How does the CRA figure out who is an eligible family and how much cash they get? Well, it's almost entirely based on one number, the adjusted family net income from their T1 tax returns. So think about that. If a client doesn't file a tax return, the CRA has no number. No number means no CCB calculation, which means no payment. It is a direct link.
And this one here is a really important top-up to the CCB. Now, to get this, the family first needs an approved disability tax certificate. That's the T2021 form. But once that's in place, the payment itself, it's calculated and delivered right alongside the CCB, using that exact same income info from the tax return. See how they're layered together?
Okay, so these benefits are a little different. They come from the employment insurance system, not directly from the CRA. But, and this is a big but, the money they receive is taxable income. It shows up on a T4E slip, and it goes straight onto their tax return. And what does that do? It affects their income level, which in turn impacts their eligibility for all those other income-tested benefits, like the GST credit or even the CCB for the next year. It's all one giant interconnected ecosystem.
Moving on. The system also kicks in to provide a safety net during some of life's absolute toughest moments, like when you have to stop working to care for a critically ill family member.
So we're going to look at two really key programs here. Both of them provide income support when people have to step away from their jobs to either provide that critical care or, in some cases, to cope with an unimaginable tragedy.
Just like mat leave, these are EI benefits. They literally make it possible for someone to take time off work without losing all their income. And as their tax professional, you're the one who's going to advise them that, hey, this income is taxable, so we need to plan for that as part of your overall financial picture this year. It gives people breathing room when they need it most.
Now this is different. It's a federal grant, not an EI benefit. It's very specific, very targeted support for parents going through the unthinkable. And this is a perfect example of the kinds of programs that are out there, programs your future clients will have absolutely no idea exist unless you, their trusted advisor, tell them. Okay, so we've covered kids and critical care. Now let's kind of zoom out and look at some of the broader income supports that help a wider range of Canadians, especially those with low and modest incomes. We'll hit three very different but very important types of support here: a tax credit, a new healthcare plan, and a pension benefit.
I'm sure most of you have heard of this one. Maybe you even get it. But let me ask you this as a future professional. How does your client apply for it? What's the form number?
Trick question. There is no form. You don't apply. This is probably the purest example of our whole theme today. Simply by filing a T1 tax return, the CRA automatically checks if you're eligible for the GST/HST credit based on your income. That's it. This is the absolute definition of the tax return as a gateway. Here's a brand new program, but it runs on the exact same engine. How does the government figure out who gets to be in the dental plan? You already know the answer, don't you? They look at your adjusted family net income from your tax return. Once again, filing your taxes is the ticket to get in the door for this health benefit.
All right, now this one comes from the Canada Pension Plan, which is kind of its own pillar in our social safety net. But just like those EI benefits we talked about, these pension payments are taxable income. They get reported on the T1, they become part of that income calculation, which then determines eligibility for all those other benefits we just went through. See, it all flows back to the T1.
So we've looked at benefits for families, for caregivers, for general income support. Let's bring it all home. Let's make this connection crystal clear because this is the single most important concept I want you to walk away with today.
And that's it, right there. The T1 is not just a form you fill out to make the government happy. It's an application. It is a complete financial snapshot of a person's life that the government uses to automatically run dozens of social programs. Your job isn't just to prepare that snapshot, it's to make sure it's accurate and complete so your client gets everything they're entitled to.
And this flowchart just lays it out perfectly. Look, steps 3 and 4, the assessment and the payment, they just happen. They're automatic. But they cannot happen without you. Your work in steps 1 and 2, getting that T1 filed accurately, that's the spark. That's the catalyst that kicks off this whole chain reaction of support for your client.
And look, you're not expected to have all of this memorized. The Government of Canada website has some incredibly powerful tools that you should seriously bookmark right now. The Benefits Calculator, the Benefits Finder, these are going to become your best friends. You can literally sit with a client and map out what they might be able to get. That isn't compliance work. That's proactive, high-value advisory work.
So I'm going to leave you with this question to chew on. As you move forward in your studies and you start thinking about your careers, you see the trend, right? The dental plan, climate action payments, more and more benefits are being delivered through the CRA. The job is changing. So you have to ask yourself, are you training to be someone who just fills out forms? Or are you preparing to be someone who helps clients navigate their entire financial relationship with the government? Think about it. We'll pick this up next week.